Ready? Okay. We'll call this meeting to order. This is the Washington County Election Commission meeting for what's today, October the 30th, 2025. And our first item of business is the minutes from the previous meeting. Y'all had a chance to look at those?
Good.
Okay. Alexa, are you good with them?
I'm good.
All right, the minutes as presented will be recorded and
I'm son.
okay. So those are good, and we'll go on to City of Greenland special election.
So the first item is logic and accuracy. So that's under the tab A. That is our testing, of course, of all the voting equipment to make sure that votes for count as votes for votes for against count as votes for against. We've also checked to make sure that the tablets are working correctly, that when it prints out the barcode, that it pulls up the correct ballot, that all those features and functions work correctly. So this is in your book, you have an example of what it is that you're signing. And then, of course, LNA always starts with a printed copy of the zero report to show that when we read in everything, there's zeros. And then you'll see the results in here.
And how long does that normally take?
So for this election, it took us
20
maybe 2 hours to 3 hours, just because of voting the ballots out of the poll book, testing the poll book and all of that. When we get to the primary, that will take us at least 3.5 to 4.
Yeah.
When you count all the different proofings that we do, but this one is straightforward with minimal precincts, minimal pieces of equipment. So yes, so I would just need, if you approve, one commissioner's signature on this document.
Okay.
And then this does get filed with the county clerk's office. And that way, if there is a request for a recount, however, for special elections, there's not a mechanism to ask for a
that right?
recount. Only candidates can ask for recounts.
yeah.
Of course, the commission could, if they wanted to choose. But in a primary election or a general election where you have candidates, this is the document that is handed to the candidate as soon as they ask for a recount. This shows
Yes.
that we tested the voting equipment. It gets filed with the Secretary of State's office for primaries and generals, so that when they get questions, they have proof that the county has done LNA,
Okay.
and that's what this document is.
And they changed that rule to about the cost for a recount.
No, that has always been the rule, for the cost. I think the rule for the cost of a recount actually should be adjusted. When that rule was originally written, it was under the assumption that you were precinct-based voting, which meant that when you counted it, you only use the votes for the candidate that was in that race. So if it's, let's say, JP District 1, for precinct-based voting, I only have to go to those 3 polling places that are in JP District 1 and count ballots for that race. But because we're vote centers, there's going to be votes for JP District 1 in every single vote center, which means you have to touch every single ballot to find that. And so I do think that, although you don't want it too cost prohibitive, because then
Right.
people wouldn't be able to ask for recounts, but I do think that's a formula that could be recalculated to account for vote centers.
And is that something the commission asked here, or would it be the state board?
It would have to be this legislatively changed because it is a legislative.
Well, we'll think about that when the legislation comes back. Yeah.
It may not be popular because it impacts
Sure.
candidates who
Sure.
are in turn our legislators, but it is a practical thing with vote centers, which
Yeah.
they didn't have when they first considered
That's
the role.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So just be a clean.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to
Item
You need
preparation.
something signed there.
On this one, this is the poll worker notice on B. So this is what we're required to post, in the county clerk's office, before early voting starts. So that if anyone had an objection to any individuals that were working, they would be able to make that objection. Yes.
Sure.
It is, we only have one polling place open, so that was what Joyce said.
Amazing.
When Joyce created this, she's like, I don't think we've ever had a one case. But yes, but in this instance, the objection to a poll worker is typically made because they're related to a candidate. Obviously, this is not a candidate issue.
Right. you can't-
So, but in turn, if we knew that someone was a city council member, we would point that out that this, and that might not be appropriate, even though there wouldn't be anything in the law that says they couldn't serve as a poll worker for this election.
Yeah.
It just might not look appropriate.
Right. Well. Let's move on.
Item C is just to remind the commission, we do not need to meet until 7 o'clock on the 17th or on the 18th. We have 2 absentee ballots. They have both returned.
Oh.
We will have those canvassed, but we should be able to start at 7 to read those in. So I just don't think the commission needs to come and hang out for
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
So we can do that the night of, it's not until next year, we have to do the day.
No, so these are not remakes.
Okay.
So what we will do is at 7 o'clock, the commission will convene. And then we will be able to read those 2 absentee ballots into a DS-200. If the DS-200 for some reason rejected them, then we would have to wait until the next day to be able to remake them.
Okay.
So yes, but just reading them in,
Okay.
we're allowed to do, so yeah.
Then we can,
On the
On the
18th.
18th. Okay. Any more questions on that? Let's move on to item 3. And this is the ballot draw. First item.
So leading up to the ballot draw, we will meet on November the 13th at 9 o'clock to review the political practice pledges. This is basically just going to give us a meeting where we can sit down and say, hey, these are going to be the contested races that we have. These are the names that we think that are going to be certified. And
This is November the 13th.
this is November the 13th for the review of the candidate political practice pledges
And what time are we meeting then?
at 9.
You?
Yeah. So what will happen during filing is Becky will send us all the political practice pledges as they come in for the county and school offices. And so I will,
I told you guys. What is it?
yeah, squirrels is.
Oh.
you know, no happy days.
At first I was like, I don't think it's supposed to rain today.
Well, I'm looking at the sky and go, there are no
Yeah.
clouds out there.
So this, I will update the county website daily with the list of candidates that have
Okay.
filed both at the state level and the county level. And then we'll have the political practice pledges of only county and school. The state handles their own of it.
Yeah.
So that's all item I is. And then item 2 is our letter to the party chairs.
Mhm.
We would need to send one to the chair for the Democrat and chair for the Republican. And this is what the letter will look like for us to send. I have one for you to sign, one addressed to Oxford and one to Louisville. And then we will mail these to the party chairs, if everything looks okay on the ballot draw.
We'd all need to sign those.
And that includes the stipulations about who draws it.
Yes, so I went ahead, in the past, I hadn't included this in the letter to the party chair, but I thought I might as well put it in the letter to the party chair this time, just so that if they're giving this information out to the party candidates,
Right.
they already have it. We, of course, the second letter that's in here is the one that we will actually email to the candidates after filing, so that they are fully aware of how the procedures will be. I have a QR code there so they can easily scan that and then go to the full list of candidates.
And how about the is there a QR code? Oh, wait, it's not on that.
Not on the letter,
Oh,
but the next letter is
gotcha.
the one we'll actually
Yeah.
send to the candidates. It's the
Okay.
one also I'm gonna print copies of it and take it. I know filing starts on Monday.
Mhm.
I'll take and have copies of this letter in where the political parties are filing, so they can hand it.
Okay, is
If
this
they-
gonna have a basically this information or that, I mean, I feel like we got a political practices email from the Secretary of State's office, or maybe it was SBDC, I don't recall. But it was the whole thing. And it's I don't know, was it 10 or 12 page document?
So that is something the county clerk's office handles.
Okay,
And so what will happen is when the candidates come in to file,
Mhm.
there is what's called the political practice
Right.
pledge. And the party chair signs off on it, has to be notarized, they pay their dues. And then that document is taken up to the county clerk's office, who verifies it and then files it.
okay,
So the county clerk actually
Okay, so
handles
that's all
of that. And the parties will disseminate that information out. It also will include information for the candidates on filing their financials and all of that may have been part of the
Okay.
request too.
yeah,
Our responsibility is only the ballot draw.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We
don't-
actually do not have that responsibility,
Good.
but I will be putting on our website candidate information such as their phone number and their email addresses, because that becomes public information when they file. That just makes it easy for people to have a one place to go
Right.
find candidate information. So, yeah. And that's what this QR code will take.
Okay.
Will take individuals to.
Sounds good. Any questions, y'all? Ballot draw procedures, you don't.
That is included in this letter, and I included the same procedures as we've had in the past, where we make the list in the order of which the candidates file.
Right.
If the candidate is present, the candidate draws regardless of placement on the list, unless both candidates are there. And then it is determined by their placement on the list. Candidates and representatives can only draw once.
Right.
That way, and that's really important, because then a representative can't say, oh, well, I'm representing this person, and just keep drawing multiple times. But yes, it's the same.
We had that, okay.
Yes, so this way, well, and when we first started, there's no, like, when you do the ballot draw, it just says by chance. So there's no, like, there hadn't been a lot of guidance in the past, so we kind of, our first couple of goes at it, we're like, okay. And then we would be like, oh, we need to
Yeah.
do it this,
Update
yeah,
this.
so. Yeah, I feel like we've got a good process.
I agree. Okay, ballot layout.
Okay,
Oh, goodness.
so the city of Fayetteville is having a special. It is 9 questions long, which means that we will have a 2-sheet absentee ballot. Yes,
I don't.
so one of the questions that was asked at the previous meeting was about placing the nonpartisan judicial unopposed candidates on the ballot. We have no space to put them. Because what our goal is with this ballot, if you'll see to that second page, questions 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all on the front. We do not want to push question 9 to the back by itself.
Oh, yeah.
So adding something that we don't need to add to the ballot, I think will push that, because this is just my best guess
Mhm.
of what contested races we might have. And there may be more people filing for some of these offices that I don't know. So it's kind of, this is just an example of how we will lay it out. But what I wanted you to see was for the absentee ballot, how large this ballot will be. And I even am thinking that on the back of page 1, where we do have that language for the unopposed nonpartisan offices, we're not required to have that second set of language for annual school and judicial. Part of me is thinking to remove that in case we get more candidates than I think. It's not required to be on there, and my idea of if we remove that is, if you look in this little grouping of paper, it says helpful hints for casting your ballot. This would be placed on every express vote as the voters are voting. If they wanted to see a full list of unopposed candidates, they would be able to scan this QR code while they're voting and see if they're interested.
Yeah.
If they're interested, yeah, but it would be placed on every express vote. So that would be my suggestion for us, just because the real estate of this ballot is so valuable. Anything that we don't need on it, I think we should remove.
You, up at the top of the third page,
Mhm.
you have new language here.
So
What's going on?
So when we were laying out this ballot, and real estate is so important for us, we took out the instructions that you would see on the page of front 1,
Okay.
because we don't need them on page 2. But we want to come up with language that says, hey, don't forget to return this page. So we haven't figured out
Oh,
what that instructions will be.
right.
That's kind of a placeholder for us to be thinking, how do we, we don't have to put anything there, but I think we should put something there to please return this page as well, or something along those lines.
Okay, well, these would be, required, this is absentee
This is
information.
absentee, yes.
So could you, without putting anything on the ballot, could you put, say, a red sheet in the envelope that says, make sure when you return your ballot that it has 3 sides?
Yes, and I had already kind of thought about that, so
Okay.
because it's only gonna be the Fayetteville voters who vote absentee that will need to do that. I'd already kind of thought about, hey, the importance of that, but I do think that we can place something on here that says page 2, something.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
side.
Because,
something.
yeah.
Only just because if you put of 3, you're like, oh,
Right.
okay, I need to be looking
Yeah,
at their page,
right.
to put page 2, it could just be just page 2.
And I think it'll want to be not page, because if they
Yeah.
see page 2 of 3, they're gonna think there's another
Right.
sheet.
Right.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so that's why we have that there. We haven't come up with the language
Okay.
yet. So any suggestions that you have in regards to language, it's a placeholder for
Yeah,
us to know.
okay.
We need to think of something,
Can we do like side 1 of 3?
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's,
I'm just trying to think of the words. I don't know how much, like you're like.
we've got space to put it there, but, we're just trying to, and we haven't put anything there because we really, really don't want question 9 to go on the back, and of course that would
Yeah.
change. That would change it as well. We also kind of discussed if we went to a bigger ballot, a 17-inch ballot, but none of our stuff, the equipment can handle it,
Right.
but none of our our other stuff, like our ballot boxes aren't big enough, Becky's drawers aren't big enough, our stuff. And I think when we get to the general election, even if we went to a 17-inch ballot for the general election, that ballot is gonna be packed,
Mm,
that we're still gonna be in the same boat. So we might as well just come up with a plan and stick with the plan, because really we're talking about the absentee ballots. We're not talking about the
Yeah,
90% of the
that's
ballots.
What happens if a voter fails to return the last page?
So those are treated as undervotes. So the,
For the,
just for those three,
the
for
first
those four
two
questions.
pages do count.
Yes, they do, yeah. And,
on the third page, transportation.
oh, these have not been
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
approved.
sorry, I had to respell all of those yesterday myself.
Yeah.
In case.
So,
Ready?
But
And Tiffany was telling me what was
they,
misspelled.
yes.
ARE6.
Okay.
Yeah, so the idea was the layout, and the other thing too, we wanted to lay out some of this too, because the city of Fayetteville, I needed to visit with them about how the ballot's going to lay out. Because there's some things in here that are a touch different than what they have in their ordinance. In this special election bond issue language, they had some of it in italics. That didn't translate well over to the ballot. It made it difficult to read. We put transportation in all caps. Where those kind of things we put in all caps to make them stand out more. They didn't have them that way in the ordinance. So we have visited with the city about the aesthetics, basically.
Yeah.
Of the ballot layout.
well, just a thought, where you say here, for your ballot to be counted, it must be returned by the appropriate deadline, or you say, all sheets, all
Mhm.
pages must be returned. And I don't know if you could go down here and put, page 1 or 3.
We will, once we
page 2 or
get,
3,
once we get the ballot laid out, we will be able to put a box down here that says continued on back or page 1 of, so yes. So that will be something, when we get all the candidates, we will be able to do, and that may be more appropriate to put it here.
What's the cost difference between the different size ballots?
So it's about a penny to 2 pennies more for the different size ballot.
And we don't keep those in stock.
That's the other part of the equation. If we were to go to a 17-inch ballot, we would have to order all the stuff.
Would you just order the 17-inch for Fayetteville precinct? No,
It has,
to
and
be for
it
the
has
whole
to be for
thing.
the express vote too,
Oh,
which means that when we order, we would have no backup.
Ah.
Like right now, where we're
Yeah.
sitting with the 14-inch, we have backup.
Yeah.
You know, and most of the time, Benton County, they do 14-inch ballot too. So we can, because you can't go to Walmart
right.
or
Right.
Home Depot and get the paper. So that's the thing that scares me about going to the 17-inch was not necessarily the cost, but the ordering of it. We would have, you know, we would have to order so much of it in order to make sure we had enough of it. Because we can't run out of
And
ballots.
then your ballot boxes,
Well, yeah, I mean,
the middle boxes, right? So-
yeah,
okay,
it
so-
kind of trickles down, and so I just feel like for the primary election, there are maybe 300 absentee ballots. So we're not talking a
Yeah.
large amount of ballots, and out of that 300, how many are going to be in the city of Fayetteville? You know, so it kind of, but I do think we can do everything we can to let those voters know that they're getting a 2-page ballot. They're used to that.
Okay.
It's not uncommon for us in the general election for us to have 2-page
Yeah.
ballots. The primary is brand new to have this
Yeah.
much stuff on there.
Do you have the option to gray out? On some things it'll say draft, but could you put on each one of these, side 1, side 2, side agree.
So we can see how there's like a little box down here, or like on page 1, there's that little open space.
Uh-huh.
We can put a box there that says,
Normally it's in red.
yeah,
Huh.
Normally it's in red. It's a little box.
Okay.
and you
Oh,
put it in
that's
red,
good.
next
That's
page,
good.
Or see back.
yeah.
On the next page, it could be problematic.
Well,
I made a note.
and that will all change
Yeah,
depending
right.
on how many candidates.
Yeah.
Also too, depending on how much, so if I have a candidate that's John Smith, that easily will fit on. If I have a candidate that is Arkansas Supreme Court Justice John
Yeah,
Smith,
yeah,
that takes a lot more space.
right.
So all of those kind of things are unknown, until we actually get the candidate names.
That affects the sizes of these boxes.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we,
Candidate boxes, I can make them smaller if the name is small.
Okay.
but we won't make them smaller, like if, like, so Attorney General, those are all at a 2. If one of them has to be at a 2, we'll keep all of them at a 2. But if we get to Secretary of State and they all fit in a 1, we'll do them all in a 1. That we'll be able to gain some space possibly, but we may be losing space too.
Mm.
Can I ask a question then?
Mhm.
So it says county offices, it says county judge, county assessor, county collector, but it just says sheriff.
So we have already
Okay,
edited that.
Okay,
I was like, I don't think have county in front of that, we already done.
Yeah,
We've already edited that as well.
okay,
yeah.
well, you're just basically giving us a sample of what it may look like, because we can't approve this until it has names
The
or whatever.
idea behind us doing this right now is when we get to actual candidate names, we're just plugging in names. And you
Right.
guys, we've already done the hard work of looking at the layout of the ballot. Making those decisions on, the size, the nonpartisan, all of that type of thing. So, yeah.
I would suggest too, that because here's the deal. Well, of course, these are for absentee people. I was gonna say, of course, this wouldn't be us doing it. Fayetteville needs to make sure and inform its voters ahead of time how much text there is for them to have to go through. Because, I wouldn't want to read all this.
It is a lot. I do know too that for voters in the Fayetteville area, the Fayetteville School District also is going to have, they're not increasing their millage, but they're changing the fund, they're changing the way their millage is being spent. It's not reflected in this ballot. I don't have the new language, but that's gonna add a little bit of length to this as well. But all of these ballots will be posted on our website as well as the ordinances
Yeah.
themselves. So voters will have access to it before they get to the polls. But yeah,
You did say you haven't yet presented this all to the city of Fayetteville.
so I did send it to the city of Fayetteville to ask them the questions about taking that out of italics, because
Right.
it was given to us in the ordinance where it says this is how it shall go on the ballot, and we're like, it doesn't really.
Yeah,
look-
yeah.
It's not readable on the ballot. So I have sent them the sample of this to look at the layout.
Okay.
Like, are you good with this?
Yeah.
And they were good with that.
Okay. So they're okay with it not being in italics?
Yeah.
Oh.
It just made it hard.
Especially as small as we had to. make.
Yeah,
Right.
it made it really.
Okay. Well,
And of course, these ballots will be a little bit bigger. I mean,
Right,
we have a
but
letter
still.
size, but still, yeah.
And there's always that button on the machine where you can increase the text size.
right,
Yes.
that's on the machine.
Right. Absentee,
You can try to do this, but it doesn't work very well. Okay, well, it's good to see this ahead of time. It's gonna be a challenge.
Well, yeah, and we picked the Republican ballot to present because it's gonna be the biggest. The
Oh,
Democratic one will still be 2 pages, but it's not as big.
okay.
It won't have as many contested races on it.
Okay, so it'll be 2 sheets or 2 pages?
It'll still be 2 sheets.
Okay,
Yep. It'll still be 2 sheets.
all right, well, we'll have more work to do once we actually have some candidate names there. Early vote. Sites and dates. And I guess I should say, any questions on the rest of this? 'Cause we've got the machine printout as well.
No, I appreciate you guys taking a look at that now to try to at least space it out rather than wait to the last minute.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of time, because you're looking at, we don't do the ballot draw until December the 4th. And then when you throw in, the holidays and everything else, it really crunches the amount of time.
Right.
So that's why I've been having Lacey do this look at it, knowing we're gonna go back there and,
When do absentees need to be sent out?
it's in January.
Oh, you don't have the date.
Yeah,
I thought, right?
she does, but we are responsible for providing the absentees.
Okay.
So, yeah, and we always do our own LNA testing before absentee ballots go out, even though it's not required, because you want to catch any errors
Mhm.
on the front end. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, early vote, sites and dates. Gosh, that's gonna be here for.
I know. So this is kind of our working calendar for early vote. We do not need to make any decisions on this today. But I feel like what I've got in these 1 through 17 is a pretty good layout of the dates. There are just some things we will need to actually make decisions on. So if we want to just go through them by site. So American Legion would be a 2-week site. Of course, the first week, they're only going to be open Tuesday through Friday, and then the next week, Monday through Friday. They just don't get enough traffic on the Saturdays to make it worth. And if you see, their turnout for the whole 2 weeks was 227. So it kind of, Elkins, same thing, Tuesday through Friday, and then, Monday through Friday. For a primary election, the voter turnout is so much smaller during early vote that I don't think it warrants being open Saturdays at Elkins. Now, some of the Elkins supervisors have asked, because it is so slow about being open for the full 2 weeks, could we just be open one of the weeks instead of the 2? And so that definitely is something the commission could vote on, could decide.
Mhm.
My only fear with us doing that is snow.
Right.
Because if it snows week 1.
Yeah.
And then we still have week 2. But if it snows week 2, we would have had week 1 to be open, but if we had closed it week 1, then they wouldn't get any early voting. So that's the only, if this was in May,
It'd be a different story.
it'd be a different story. But I feel like with the possibility of weather, we might be hurting ourselves.
But our reasoning, about, possibly closing it for 1 week and having it only open 1 week is based on comments from, our supervisors, at the polling location. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's just so slow. It's just the number of voters that come out. In 2022, they had 198 voters in week 1. And so, and then in week 2, they had 351. And I think it was just basically based on, they're seeing, you know, how slow the voter turnout is.
I'm probably, default to like keeping them open rather than closing.
I mean, for me, I agree. This was just a comment that they had, but also the weather. I really think,
right.
but I do think it doesn't warrant us to be open on the 2 Saturdays,
Right.
out there.
Yeah,
Elmdale. So Elmdale is one that we have to close through the week, just because of activities at the church. So Wednesday we would close at 4. Saturday we would be open, but it's got the green in it because we have to completely tear it down and then go back
Next
in
week.
and set up. And then,
what's the question mark on Sunday?
that is us, that notation is for us on what time we go back in and set it up. Those, yeah, the pale, that peachy color is noting for us when we have to go in and do something. And then, I'd had, like I said, these are just
Jennifer.
thoughts. I had that Monday after, that Monday on the 23rd in yellow as a thought, well, maybe we weren't open the first Monday, maybe we don't open the second Monday. And let our team go in and set up, but I think we should stay open. I think that must have been why I had that yellow there. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we'll close at 4, and then they would be open the last Saturday. Farmington, we did really well with Farmington for the general election. However, for the primary, I don't think it warrants us being open for 2 weeks in Farmington, but definitely being open the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of these.
Don't have snow.
We don't have snow on one of those weeks, but it has not traditionally been a 2-week site for us. So, I feel like we'll be okay there. Fayetteville Public Library, that would be open Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, we would have to close at 4. They have an event, so we would have to close early. Lincoln Community Center, we will be able to be back in the community center, and we won't be in the library. They were very gracious to host us, but their libraries or their community center is now open, so we would be open Thursday and Friday. That's traditional for us, for there. Medical Arts Pharmacy, it is the 2 weeks, just not open on
You talked
Saturdays.
to him?
Yeah, we're good there. It was a
Okay.
little frightening.
I-
And I'm sure for them too.
I,
So a car crashed into Medical Arts Pharmacy.
I mean, there's always like trauma.
Yeah, but they are a wonderful
Yeah.
location for us. They are definitely a really good location for us. Nazarene, they performed well for us too, but I think for the primary, just having them open the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Prairie Grove, this was, we normally have had Prairie Grove open the first Saturday, never the second Saturday. But if we were going to close Elkins and Westport, I wanted to raise the question, would we want to maybe close Prairie Grove that first Saturday too? And just have them open, Tuesday through Friday and then Monday through Friday the next week.
Okay.
The courthouse, of course, has to be open the entire time. It is the only place we cannot close in the event of a weather situation. That will also be something we have to discuss as well, is how do we want to proceed with the weather kind of thing, so. Rise Physical Therapy, they're only open Friday, Saturday of the first week. They still do really good numbers for us.
that's the one in Fayetteville, right?
That is over by the Walmart.
Yeah.
If we could have locations by every Walmart. We get all the voting done during early
Early
voting.
voting, yeah.
So, yeah. And then, of course, Sonora, the Thursday and Friday. Springdale Public Library, I don't have anything in there because I think, and we should be seeing it or finding out, I think they're done with their renovations.
Oh,
Oh,
So they really, really like us being there. They're a great location for the city of Springdale. They're in the heart of the community. So my thought process with the Springdale Public Library would be to open them the last week of early vote. Because I would want to ask for a change of polling locations for election day. Archer, which is
Oh,
the
yeah.
community center, or which is the school,
Mhm.
it's right in that same complex. My thought process would be to close that site and have Springdale Library open as an election day site. So then this would match some of our other places that aren't really voting in election day. So my thought would be to have them open the Tuesday through Friday of the second week, and then actually be an election day site. But until I am confirmed that they have occupancy,
Right.
that it's completely ready, although they think it is, and they really want us. I have left that blank,
Okay.
And then that Saturday too, right?
not on the Saturday, just on, yeah. Saturday early voting is not busy at all. It's surprising, but it's really not. Springdale Senior Center, loved that location.
Did you?
Yes.
Good.
It is great. They are happy to have us. I think that, I mean, we went there on a Thursday and they were playing bingo. There must have been 100 people there.
Oh, there's probably more than that, it was packed.
And if they all voted, that would equal what we get at some,
Right.
at some places. So I think Springdale Senior Center, will be a great location for us. So my suggestion would be for them Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We do have to close early on that Friday. They already had something scheduled in the place we would be. But in the general election, we already have it reserved for the full day.
Okay.
But yeah, they,
On the outside, how does the, I mean, from the outside, the parking didn't seem to be substantial.
so when we went in and saw the amount of people that were inside, that's telling me that they're parking somewhere.
Okay.
Which means that voters will
Okay.
find a place to park, because I agree with you too, because when we just drove through the parking lot, it didn't really seem like they had a ton of parking. Go inside, there were so many people in there, and so many poll workers. We don't know about poll workers.
We know this here.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, but, if you've not been to it, it is amazing.
It's
I
so
mean, it is really cool. I really, really think it's gonna be a great
I
location
agree.
for us.
Yes.
I do. I'm really excited for us to be
Well, if you
there.
just get 50% of the people that show up there on a regular basis to vote, probably hit a home run.
Yeah, the one problem I see, and it's not really a problem of the location or anything, is that we probably will have voters from Benton County who are members of the Springdale Senior Center
yeah.
and might try and vote there
Mhm.
because they're gonna see that it's voting, but
Yeah.
they will not be eligible
Right.
there. But yeah, but I think it's gonna be a really, really great place for us. So, yeah. So.
When will we know about a confirmation if they're gonna be done?
Oh, the
Oh,
Springdale
yeah,
Library.
Yeah, so sorry.
So everything we've been seeing has been November 1st. So we will get in touch with them next week,
Okay.
to make sure and to kind of do a walkthrough. It's in the Shiloh Community Room. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's now going to have its own entrance and exit.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
yes, so it definitely, that's why we're thinking that changing Archer
Yes.
and putting it over, it's still in that community. And I just feel like for all of those locations where we're like, oh, it's an early vote site and an election day site, you kind of meet that criteria.
I know we keep Archer as an early site or.
We would keep Archer.
At all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Town City Hall, so I have it closed, obviously on Monday, that's a holiday. But on Tuesday, because we would have to close them at 4 o'clock, so because they have some type of meeting.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me for us to just open up to close it early.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and just had them closed Monday and Tuesday. Then we would set up and they would be open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Closed on Saturday and then the next week, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Now, I have them closed on Saturday of the last week. The voter turnout on the Saturdays at Tawny Town is not that great.
Right.
And I just was like, okay, we could close it, obviously, if the commit, we can keep it open, but, I just feel like for the teams going, it would be easier for it to be closed. And the voter turnout, I think they did like 40 voters on the Saturday, and that's not very, compared to, we will have a polling location open in Springdale.
Okay.
So, University of Arkansas, that would be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then Weddington, that would be Tuesday through Friday, closed the first Saturday, but then open the last Saturday, and that is reflective of what we did in 2020, I believe 2022. So, and then Westport, the same thing, just Tuesday through Friday for the first week, and then Monday through Friday for the second week. So those would be my suggestions of our early vote locations and the dates and times. The three that are located at the bottom, Christchurch was one that we didn't open during the primary, that we did have open during the general. So I'm thinking to just wait and open it back up at the general. And then Civic Center, they will not have a calendar of events until January, which means that it kind of puts us too late.
Yeah.
They will be an election day side. Tuesdays are no problem. It's, they have things the rest of the week. But with us opening up the Springfield Senior Center, I think that's
It
a,
may take it completely off of their.
yeah,
Well, it takes some time for voters to get used to it. Too.
Yeah, sure.
but they will be open election day. And then, of course, the Walton Art Center is not available for us, for the spring election.
Okay.
So they'll be available for us for the general, but just not this. So this is kind of what
First
we
draft.
were thinking, yep. So,
Good.
and then the rest of the information is just turned out, so you can kind of see basically what it looks like.
Okay.
No, thanks for giving all this data. I know it's a lot of information. I appreciate it.
Well, it gives us an idea of A, the staff, and B, should it be open Saturday or not,
Speaking of which, how is your recruitment going?
we,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So,
We need poll workers.
we do.
Okay.
We do.
I mean, most people are probably not thinking that far ahead, but we need to get that.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, and we've been having poll workers come in and fill out applications and all of that. But yeah, we definitely. So, yeah,
And they can do that online or they can come here directly.
either
right?
way.
Okay.
Yep, either way. So, which that is our election day side, the next place where we have. So the only significant change that I see for election day sides compared to what we did in 2024 is possibly moving Archer to Springdale Public Libraries. And I have notations next to be like Brentwood needs several new poll workers. We have new supervisors where we have that. Mount Comfort no longer wants to be poll. That is a significant loss for us, but I completely understand.
Yeah.
They have a school there. That school has been expanded. But it leaves us on the hunt for a location
That side of
on
town.
that side of town.
Ooh.
So I know you've received a couple of suggestions. How's that going?
So I have been in communication with, and did a little map for you guys, so you could kind of see where everything is located. So, okay, Mount Comfort is number one on the map. And like I said, we're going to have to replace them. In the primary of, last year, they did 484 voters on election day, but when they looked to the general, they did 1,125 election day. Okay. Number two is Cross Church, which is that new massive church that's being built with all that, it has a huge campus, huge parking lot.
Not on the right side of the
It's not,
expressway.
it's not on the right side of the expressway.
Oh, boy.
I do have a good contact for there. I have been in contact with them. I have given them the election dates. They're looking at it, so I'm hoping to have a meeting with them soon about that location. Number three, which is Shiloh Community, I have not reached out to them yet. They have been an alternative location for us in the past. Our biggest problem with Shiloh is the parking. That ingress and egress out of it is very narrow, and the last time we had an election there, people were parking in their grass, even though we had signs not to.
Yeah.
It really became an issue. But it is on the right side of the road. It just, the parking is not great. And then, of course, I've got Covenant marked for us as well. That's on Weddington. That will be a current polling location for us. They did 826 voters, for the primary and 1,384 for the general. My worry is that what if we don't find something on Mount Comfort, which I didn't mark it on here, but if you look at the top of the map where you see the number 49, there's a church that there's behind Casey's gas station, there's a church off of Dean Solomon. That has a parking lot that's big enough for us. I have emailed, I have Facebook messaged. We've driven by, they have no actual phone number that I have been able to get in touch with anyone, but we will track down that lead too, but I just haven't been able to reach an individual there. They look like, just from their Facebook posts, have a young congregation, but they also are a church that, from what I can tell, only meet on Sunday, like they don't have a Wednesday night. So I can kind of see why it's been kind of hard to get in touch with someone. It doesn't seem like they have all
Technical staff.
right. So thoughts on this area are, we cannot have everyone from the Mount Comfort area, which is over 7,000 plus registered voters, vote at Covenant. It won't work. Covenant's parking lot already is maxed out. We already get complaints about
Yes.
people parking in the grass.
And we do not want to lose them.
No. So, our option, Cross Church, is not. It is a good location for us in regards to the size and everything. You know, those voters can just, get on 49, come down, they could get on Rupel and go. But minus someone building us a church or a community center out there.
Isn't there
I'm not sure what we're gonna do.
a White Rock church out on 16 somewhere?
That's still Weddington.
It's what?
That's Weddington.
Oh, it's still
Yeah.
Weddington?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a church, you can't really see it on this map, but where you see where Wheeler Road is, there's a church that's way down Wheeler Road, but it's
Okay.
outside the city limits, and I feel like voters won't go that way.
Right,
I feel like
right.
voters will go to Cross Church,
Mm.
because they're already going that way. So
As
yes,
far as the Wheeler, fire place.
it has,
Compared to.
Oh.
Comfort.
it is maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes, but that side is tiny. That side only, we only have max for 3 express votes in
yeah,
there, and I think
okay.
there's parking for 6
Okay.
there.
Little.
Yeah, it's tiny. So So the city of Fayetteville would like to build a community center. Or
one of the.
I have it done. Yeah, could have that done by February.
Wow.
We would really appreciate it. And if you see there on Rupel and Mount Comfort, that kind of area that's brown, that's all gonna be apartments.
Oh, is it
Oh,
really?
and they are
Wow.
already going up and it's massive.
More population in
It's just
an area
way
that,
worse. Yeah.
oh, man.
So,
What's the, north of Mount Comfort, what's the little white place
so
there? Some brown behind it.
that is Holt Middle School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Holt Middle School and Holcomb Elementary are in that area, but the schools won't allow us. to
Yeah,
be
we
in
don't
there.
need to be there.
Yeah, and quite honestly, the parking at Holcomb is horrible. You know, if school was going on and they did allow us to be in that gymnasium, it's like no parking in that area.
Drop off, pick up, after school program,
Yeah.
sports.
Well, and the one that you looked at too, Mount Comfort Presbyterian, they have a fellowship hall there, but they're not ADA compliant.
Like they have no, they don't even have, they don't even have a gravel sidewalk to the back where their ramp is. at all.
Oh,
It's all not. So we will take on this search.
But when you say that, cross church, right?
Mhm.
You say this on the wrong side of the road, you're talking about the wrong side of 49?
Yeah.
And why is it the wrong side?
Well, I'm just saying, compared to Mount Comfort, it is, Mount Comfort was, I think, designed in some respects to service this particular area. And so that people didn't have to come in to, say, Sang or whatever.
Especially now with all the new construction and those.
Yeah.
driving lanes.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, if I don't have to go the other way, I mean, I have to like plan 5 miles back, which lane I'm gonna be in, which traffic I'm gonna be on, and then how far ahead.
But it is our truly best viable
Yeah.
option
Yeah.
if they're willing to host us. And so, because it will have the parking. I would.
how many
assume
machines would you put in there?
They get 13 machines.
Wow.
But the size of that campus.
Yeah.
There was another thought I had too. You could almost do a mega site there with Covenant
Mhm.
and Mount
Mhm.
Comfort combined into Cross Church.
Yeah.
Because, I would imagine space wise inside, they must have massive rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big gap.
And then that pushes all of those voters into this
Right.
one location. Because part of my fear is too, is that voters might live, because I live on Mount Comfort.
Yeah.
I'll just hop on Rupel and go down to Covenant.
Yeah.
And then we overwhelm Covenant, because Covenant already is max at 30 feet. And that is a large number that they do, and space wise, it's small, it's small.
Yeah.
So,
And they're building those apartments, that might be a really good relationship to build now with Cross Church, if it's all on that side. It's only gonna grow. it only
this
gets
whole
more
area is, yeah,
So I think even if we only did a few days, that might be something to get used to, for people to get used to.
well, this will be election day.
Right, okay.
Yeah, this will be election day.
And this is actually a small election, so it'd be nice to figure out.
Right, because really what we're looking at what are we gonna do for the general?
Right.
Because the voter turnout at 484 for Mount Comfort for the primary, we could disperse those voters at another location, but 1125, we will hurt ourselves. So yeah, so
I think you ought to continue to talk about it, but
yes, and I have spoken with, I've actually spoken with someone there. They very receptive to the idea of us being there. It's just one of those things with a church that size, they have to take it up to
Right.
several
Right.
different layers. But yes, I will continue to pursue that, option there, so.
Well, we've got time on that.
We say that.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it. You're
It
right.
will, yeah.
You're right.
The only other, note I have for polling locations is Yvonne Richardson Center, which we did close for the 2024 general. It still is under construction in parts of it, and the way they have redone it, the parking
Oh,
is
yeah.
almost non-existent. So it may not really be a viable option for us to open it back up. It wasn't, no. So I'm thinking Yvonne may not be a location for us. For the primary, definitely with construction still going on in parts of it, something to revisit for the general. So they weren't open for the general, but they were open for, the primary, they did 216. So easily, and obviously they weren't open for the general, so those voters went and voted at Genesis.
Oh,
So,
that's-
yeah, so. And Genesis was able to hold those voters.
Didn't we want to try to find another replacement or just?
No, Genesis is so close
Okay.
to it, yeah, that, it wouldn't make sense to find a replacement in that area. And Genesis serves that community very well,
Right.
so yes.
Okay. Keep looking. All right, election commission meetings.
So, there's a couple of things I think, for us to start thinking about in regards to, the remakes. When we get to, this is for when we look at Wednesday, November 19th, this is for the special election.
Right.
This will know election night if we're gonna have remakes or not. So that 1 o'clock might go away.
Sure.
And we would need staff and just one commissioner for that at 1, and then the commission would meet at 2. If we have any remakes or if we have any provisions. So that is kind of to be determined. When we get to the primary election, though, we know we're gonna have provisionals and we know we're gonna have remakes. Part of me is wondering, on that Wednesday, March the 4th, we will need at least one commissioner to be present when we start, and we think we'll start at 10 o'clock. That gives us time to get in here, wake up, and get kind of everybody lined out.
Yeah.
Because it's not just us, it's my supervisors who worked the day before, who worked all 2 weeks of early vote, who are going to be coming in too. So we think we'll start at 10.
Yeah.
So that means we'll need one commissioner here at 10. My second thought on that day of March the 4th. If we have remakes where there is a question about the voter's intent. So let's say we have a ballot where the voter filled in the oval, marked it out, then circled the other thing. The commission has to vote on those, that voter intent. So one commissioner cannot do that. So do we want to think about having a meeting that Wednesday, March the 4th at, say, like 3 o'clock, for the commission to review any of those possible?
You think you'd have all of the remakes
I
done
think
by
we would.
then?
Yeah, my plan is to bring in a big enough team
Okay.
to do that. We have the space. So this is just a thought that maybe we bring the commission in at 3 to just simply go over remakes, where we have to vote on the voter's intent. Now we could do all of that on March the 5th when we have a meeting scheduled, but that really kind of, if we had a lot of them, that adds to it. So, I just wanted to kind of throw that suggestion out there that.
We don't need to make a decision.
We don't,
Right.
but I just wanted to kind of give you a
Yeah,
thought
a heads
process
up, yeah.
on that. And obviously too, let's say we only have 100 Uocava ballots. that kind of tells us too how long it's gonna take us to do something,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
And then, the other one I have is the Friday, the 13th. We would need to meet at 5:30, yes.
Wow.
This has to do with any UOCAVAs. They have until 5 o'clock to come in. I know we've met earlier because they've either been in or we're not waiting on them, but this kind of, if we need to wait. So I wanted to do
So that would be a tentative,
Yes,
we'll see.
yeah, so I just wanted to make you aware of
We over
the.
here, we're as far as we just seen.
Oh,
I
yes,
just- when I-
it is.
When I read that out loud, I was like, oh.
Nothing is wrong. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So. So, yeah, so like I said, I just like to
Yeah,
think of these dates well in advance, so when you're making your calendars,
right.
you have all of that.
Ladies, I'm gonna have to call a break for just a minute.
Okay.
Right back.
We can do that. Most of this is.
Evelyn brought, Evelyn brought,
You want to
yes.
pause that?
I'm gonna pause that. I can.
Are we're not adjourned,
We're taking a
Okay,
Unmuted over there?
the same.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item of business, train the trainer on December the 2nd.
So this is for my team. We'll attend, train the trainer and you guys are welcome to come, not required, but, this will be the class that, sets us up to be able to train our pollers.
Mhm.
And so, it will be here in Fayetteville, and we're actually gonna be in the new emergency operations center. So, parking won't be an issue, although my team did a great job of. getting
Yeah, that
people
was
to
amazing.
Yeah, so,
So is this you said that they don't have the space that they anticipated that we might have. Do they have enough space for
yes,
all of these folks?
yes, they
Okay.
do. They have a room that's probably this
Oh,
size.
really?
Okay. And what is really nice, it has 4 TV screens.
Okay.
And they have it set up where it goes this way so that I feel like, especially for train the trainers, we'll be able to see the
Oh,
screen
good.
so much better.
Good.
So, yeah, so, but yeah, so I've already got that reserved for us over there, to visit with them. So, yeah.
Okay. So that is on December the 2nd. Yeah, you don't actually have time on here.
I love
So-
that. It's got a monitor, so when election night and we have poll washers or people in the audience, people can display stuff on the monitor.
That's not what we brought that over here.
Okay.
We brought that over for training.
Okay.
And we would have to think about how to do that because we really don't want to hook her computer where she's reading in
Mhm.
to the monitor because if a mistake was made and then
Mhm.
they see, yeah, so.
Okay.
So, yeah. But the commission has to designate those of us that are going.
Oh, that's right.
Yesterday,
Yeah.
I just put all of our names on there. So this designates, all of our team basically to be able to attend training.
I would suggest that we not use that for election
Oh,
night
yeah,
for any, I mean, put a screensaver on there because it's too distracting.
yeah.
And we don't need any additional distractions.
Well, and my biggest fear always is there are, counties that do a scroll.
Right, right.
But what happens is, if you read in a stick that you shouldn't have read in, or you try and read it in twice, then there, different things are happening, and then you have to, constantly update it. And so the more our team is having to do something like that,
Right.
it's harder for us to get it done.
Gotcha.
And I could see back when it took us all night, but the fact that we're done by 10 o'clock, I'm like,
I
that
was
would,
thinking about when you actually post the unofficial results.
oh, well,
Yeah, but
Yeah, but nothing
That-
else. No,
yeah.
no, nothing else.
but what we've done now though is we just email them out, so
Okay.
everybody that's here gets them
That's
on their
true, yeah.
phone as soon as,
yeah.
yeah, so yeah. And that has worked really well for us,
Yeah.
rather than trying to print out.
The phone calls have lessened in the evening too, because they all know that they're on the email list and they'll get it.
And they just
Right.
get the email, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the preferred way.
And for the primary election and the general, we also upload it to that state website,
Oh, yeah.
which is that format that they have is a very readable format, like where ours is static, it's just a
Right.
PDF. But the one that the state has where we upload, you can just like put in the person if you
Exactly
want
where you wanna
and you
go.
find it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted to send it to the state, if you wanted it to reflect the state website or
Yeah.
something, that would be that would be more desirable than to use our info. Okay, precinct change order, annexation.
So one of the things when I was in Little Rock, Shelby Johnson, who is the state GIS director, came and visited with us with every class. And he was like a wealth of knowledge, like talk about someone with institutional knowledge and all of those types of things. One of the things he mentioned though, when he was in class, is like, you can, as a commission, just have an order that anytime there's an annexation, it allows the county clerk to just clean up the annexation and the commission doesn't have to meet. And that way it keeps us going forward rather
Right.
than that big cleanup
Right.
kind of thing that we did. And so with that in mind, I thought, why are we not doing
Right.
this? I didn't know that was an option until Shelby mentioned it. And so, I got the language from Shelby, that, another county had used. I have also sent this to our county attorney for them to look at. And if you'll see, I've got an example of a map in here. This is essentially what this would do. The top picture is an annexation that the city of Fayetteville is getting ready to do. Now, my house is not in that blue area, but my house is right there
Yeah.
in that little, that little area right there.
Somebody just walked you right out of there.
They did. So my house is right there.
They
So-
know,
Oh my
they know.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is representative of an annexation where the city is just going to pass an ordinance taking this property. So, and you'll see down below that that property is in Wheeler 5. And what will happen is with the commission signing this order, it will give Becky and the state the ability to just take that annex area, put it into Fayetteville 40 without the commission every time there's one of these things that happen, and that happens quite often.
So maybe we should do that we should sign that once a year or something?
So
Does it have to be
it
done?
doesn't have an end date on it.
Oh,
It
okay.
just sets us up. So if there's ever a new commission that wants to do it differently, they could pass an order
Okay.
saying they will do
They'll
it
do it
differently.
differently.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this would allow, the clerk to just go forward
Yeah.
and.
Question, is there any opposition to this annex?
So there's no people living there right now.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, it's just an empty piece of land.
which
Are
they
they getting
will
ready to develop?
develop it right around my. Now, if.
Are you the only one who against the annexation?
Is she gonna be?
Maybe it's an
I can make my husband go.
Oh, my goodness, how funny.
So if the city would want to build a community center. We could use it for early voting.
I love it. Have you brought that before the city?
Right.
As a comment for Fayetteville, there's a suggestion.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
could run that site just from my home.
Oh, that's
This
a,
just happens to be the example. There's not very many examples right now of
Yeah.
annexation. This one.
oh, my goodness, how
So-
funny.
Will it be notified if you, like, will we say, hey, this is the annexation that happened from this period, this period?
So, like I said, Shelby was a wealth of knowledge. There is on the state GIS, there is a map where it says check my city. So I will be able to go on
Okay.
there, and anytime an annexation is thought about by a city or someone's petitioning to be annexed, it shows up on that map. So I'm able to see all of that. And then Becky, of course, gets notification anytime there is an annexation. Those are filed with her office, but I'll be able to track it and everything. So, yeah.
So
So,
like, hey, you guys ready to approve this? And here's what you approved.
yeah, so it is kind of takes a lot of, those cleanup things that we would have to meet. And we
Right.
can do them in a more timely manner.
Yeah,
So,
well, I mean, it is gonna save a ton of time.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
for example, these are annexations that are already been approved by the city. So we're.
So
just the
this
last-
one is still.
This one's pending, but
Yes,
by
but yes.
signing this,
Mhm.
everything's already been approved and processed. We're just the last piece of
Yeah.
the puzzle.
Because basically what happens is the state GIS, so the state GIS already has this, because this top map I got from the state GIS.
Mm,
So they already know where these are going to be, and they already know that then this will need to be put into the city limits.
Yeah.
So the city limits will change. And so basically it just says, okay, now it's gonna be in the city limits, but we're gonna put it in this precinct 40.
Why is it, tell me again why this is needed, what is the purpose, or is it fixed?
So otherwise, the commission would have to be signing an order every single time there is an annexation.
it would be
That's
on the
what-
front end.
That's what we do now.
That's what we do now, and that, we had that big cleanup one where you guys did that. This will let us just kind of like do it
On
as
the
they
front
come in,
end.
especially these little small ones.
Is that,
Instead of on the back end.
is that because of, I mean, what, why do we do this? Why are we, I guess in the code, why is this, committee, board supposed to, sign off on it?
The commission, the election commission is responsible for precinct lines.
Right,
And so that is one of the duties that the election commission has to do.
right.
But, so we know these precinct lines are going to change when there's annexations. So this just allows the commission to say, when there's an annexation, the county clerk can go ahead and make these precinct line changes without the commission having to meet every single time. to do it.
Okay, with this order in place, we're not giving up our legal obligation to be responsible for it,
No.
right? So does this give us, notification that this has been done, that one has been changed?
It will, because the state GIS, so what happens is, I obviously will know it's the mapping,
Government, the
information. system.
geo.
Yeah.
Geographical.
It's something,
Something like
yeah.
that.
Okay,
So basically what will happen is I can let the commission know when these things happen. But we wouldn't have to meet in order for us to go ahead and start the process of changing the precinct lines. This is only for annexations.
good.
So basically what happens is Becky then will, once, because the state already knows about this happening, and then Becky gets the information once the city has approved it. And then the documentation goes to the state and they go ahead and make the changes. What
And
Becky,
then what are the steps now?
so the steps now are, we, either do a big giant cleanup, like which is what we did, but we run the risk of our precincts not always
The
being.
climate cleanup
in
was because a
Yeah.
bunch of these were done and we were not involved.
Yeah.
line. No, and quite honestly, we don't get notified of annexations. Like,
As an official
as an
thing.
official thing, the only way we know when annexations happen is
When
like.
you read it in the newspaper.
Or Becky tells us, or it's an election.
Yes,
But
yeah.
the code says that we are responsible for
The precinct
it,
line.
but we don't, what does that mean? What does it mean to be responsible?
It
I'm
means
sorry,
we-
this-
No, it means we are responsible.
I'm not a lawyer.
So, okay, so we are responsible for drawing the lines. If we didn't sign this order, what would happen is this area, which is now in Wheeler 5,
No,
we would have to make a split in
so let
there.
me stop you there, because I want to ask a question.
Okay.
How did so many of them occur and we weren't involved?
Because we are not the first, second, last,
Yeah.
or whatever of any of the annexations. So when Becky and I talked this summer about the 3,000 split, that's the one thing we do monitor.
Yeah.
The precincts where they get 3,000 in. We monitor that. So over this year, Becky's like, oh, well, we've had this annexation, this annexation, this annexation, we need to clean all those up. That's why we did that mass
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, this would let us just, instead of waiting and doing it in an odd year or waiting and doing it one big one, it lets us keep our precinct lines clean.
It simply is allowing Becky to go forward with what the annexation instructs her to do without having to muck it up by having a meeting
Well, and
of our group in the, I mean, it's basically it's not forward thinking, it's backward,
Well, it seems to me, right now, it seems to me that we're not functionally or really a part of this.
right,
And
but
so maybe there needs to be code change by the legislature rather than
yes,
some precinct order,
right,
done to add to the. But I'm just,
no,
I'm just saying, it seems to me that we're really,
It's done backwards.
the water is muddy.
yeah, it is. And you are right, because we are not the group that handles annexations.
Yeah.
We are not the group that gets them filed in our office.
right.
The only time we would know about an annexation is this election that's
Mhm.
coming up. So what this does is allows, one, I didn't know that until Shelby came and talked to us, I didn't even know that that was
Possible.
a possibility, something that we could kind of do and now keep track of. Now on my own, I can keep track of these annexations and know when they're coming.
See how they
And
impact.
see how they impact and keep the commission
Yeah.
informed, because before I didn't know to inform.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know when they were occurring, because we're not. So in regards to if we are in control of precincts, maybe there should be legislation that says annexation orders should be filed with the election commission, because right now there's nothing that says that. But until that type of legislation could be changed, this lets us going forward.
Well, and I know that we can, that you can take on the task of notifying us and letting us know what's going on, so we can at least have knowledge of
Mhm.
somebody that's living there and doesn't know what to go on, calls the chairman.
All right, so my question, or at least I've got two questions. First, is there a downside to signing a precinct order that is basically a blanket precinct order for the future?
Not for annexations.
Okay.
If this was, because it's just cleaning up like the city
Mhm.
law
Mhm.
is all that's doing. The other thing that the commission is in charge of is the precinct splits when it
Right.
gets over 3,000. We don't want to sign just a
No.
blanket one of those types of things.
Okay.
So I do think that this is a good order for us in regards to annexations, because most of the annexations we see are gonna be these
Yeah.
little ones like
Will
that.
there ever be an annexation that changes something to do with the 3,000 that you're talking about? Like,
It could,
yeah.
and then we
Well,
would,
you always say that.
because that's a different criteria. So what would happen is,
So you told me that this only had to do with annexations,
Mhm.
but I just asked a question about an annexation, you're saying it's a section.
so, okay, actually what would happen is, let's say this area had 3,000 people in it.
Yeah.
So what Becky would do is, that would give Becky automatically the authority to just change, because the city line is going to change regardless of what we do. So Becky could go ahead and then incorporate that into Fayetteville 40. She's done that part, so that part
Right.
gets done automatically by the state, and with Becky, the city line changes, so it changes that precinct. Then we would have the authority to go in and say, okay, well now, and let's say that how that 3,000 went in there was a better way to split the precinct. We could split the precinct down like a main highway or a river or something that made more logical sense. That would be the time we would come in. So the annexation part would be taken care of that part would be good. And then we could come in later and do a split.
Could we add a sunset clause to this? Maybe with, have language that we're adding, if there's a change in the board.
Yeah, you can, we could
Or
do it for a
do a
2-year
year.
period. You could do anything, yeah, you could do that, cause you'll see the absentee handling order. I do have it as a term
Okay.
kind of thing. So definitely you could do it at that. There is, at least from my point of view, I don't think there's a downside for making this be a permanent thing. But we could add language in to do that if the board wanted to do that.
Any thoughts?
I just don't know that I have enough knowledge. But, you know, and now also hear that we've been sitting here probably for the whole time I've been here, and these things have been getting done without us knowing about them.
Well, we know about them as long as, I mean, we know about them when we're up on, we gotta change the precincts for this or that. Yeah, well, not just that.
These small little slivers of
Yeah.
annexation. So what has happened is those voters have always been given the correct ballot. So no voter's ever not been given the correct ballot. We just haven't gone in and on the map fixed
Right.
the little lines. This is actually a way for us to do this, going forward in probably a more proper manner than what we have been doing.
Well, let's take a specific, because if you look at this map here, the lower map, there's a little sliver of green in
Mhm.
Fayetteville 40.
Well, that little sliver of green belongs to whatever precinct that is.
Right,
Yeah.
right, but that, I mean, that's kind of a squirrely little thing
It
too.
is, and we do have, so if you look to, we do have, our precincts are not all contiguous. Like they don't, we have some precincts where they don't necessarily touch one another, but they're inside the city limits and they have all the matching stuff,
Okay,
like matching
Oh,
state
gotcha.
senate, matching rep.
right,
Having the precincts touch one another is not a criteria of
Okay.
like having to have it done that way.
okay,
But yes, that little sliver of green would be part of whatever Fayetteville precinct that is,
right.
right there.
So like in this instance, could it be possible that those residents or resident went to the city council, went through the whole process, got it approved? But their neighbors didn't want to do that, so they fought against it, so it was only that little sliver and not like.
I don't,
Larger, you know what I mean?
I don't honestly know what that little sliver
There
is.
may not be anybody in that little
It's
sliver.
probably not, or it's probably,
Just so if in the case that it is developmental
Mhm.
property, this is the
Yeah.
precinct. And city that you reside because of maybe water or utilities.
Okay.
But I'm assuming it's already gone through that process, so would just be matching it.
yeah.
Well, would it be helpful, Jim, if we, put this on the back burner for now and maybe
Well,
researched it a little? We don't have to approve it today.
Well, what it does, so when we change precinct lines, you have a time frame to change precinct lines.
This is affect the next election.
Yeah, but I think one of the reasons why this struck me is like kind of what Jim is getting at is annexations, we're not always privy to.
Right,
And apparently we have a code responsibility.
Right, of the precinct lines, but we don't know to change the precinct lines unless we know there's an annexation. So what made me, and when they were talking about this order, it lets us be in compliance with us doing the precinct lines and, when the annexations happen. So now we will be in compliance always.
Well,
And that's what this order
does
does.
it make any sense to also have this order says an order, but not sure that's the best language, but anyway, to have this, also include language that says that, somebody, whether it's Becky or whoever, will need to be required to give us notice that this is being done. So that we have a record that we that we talked about, we looked at it at a meeting, it's on the record that we've done, maybe our, I don't know who would write something like that, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
That we get, if it's, we're saying, do it this way,
As
because
received.
it's easier,
Right,
but we want to be notified that it's been done.
yes, well,
So-
and,
So could we do something, we sign the line, we sign this maybe with sunset clause or a 2-year clause? And then add in with any automatic changes that the county plan has made within 30, 60 days, and that way we should have a meeting within that time frame, maybe?
So I definitely can talk to Becky about that. One of the things, and this is we can't dictate a duty to an elected official, right? Essentially, and that would be what we do. Not that she would not do it.
Right.
No.
but Becky is not always gonna be the county clerk.
But what she can do is, because I am aware, you could make the language in here that,
The director.
the director
At the next
reviews it
meeting.
at the next meeting to let you know.
At the next
Something-
plan meeting.
Yeah.
I know sometimes from the.
Yeah,
people
we
meet.
won't.
So I don't
But
want
we
to put in
could,
there.
you
the
could
extra-
add the director is responsible, or you could do chair, you could do director or chair, because, well, I guess this is just for us, so it doesn't
But we've
matter.
got somebody there has to let us know,
Yes,
whether it's you or you, somebody
Yeah.
there, is that happening now? Do we get to know this?
so.
Or
In
you say we
arrears.
can't tell Becky that she has to?
We can't tell Becky that we have to, but what we will do, like, I agree, adding the language that says the director shall inform the commission whenever there has been a precinct change at the next plan meeting.
How do you know that?
Oh, because one, I now have, I have access to which is Data Scout, which is our precinct mapping thing. But also on the state GIS website, it's called, Check My City. That's where all this information is found.
So if that action is being taken by a city and the clerk, you can, by going there and looking, you can find it.
I
You
can,
see
will
it.
you grab my iPad real quick?
That's okay.
No, I'll show you, because it's
That's
really,
interesting. And I-
it's really kind of neat, because
Because
So we keep that within us. that,
Yes.
You know, and it's, okay.
but I can add
And then if we don't
language.
like it, we can do like a year clause or a 2-year clause to revisit it.
Sure.
Or-
I like the idea of, doing it. Signing this, for a year or something in time,
Or we can do a year. or-
Well, let me ask you this, does this get filed with anybody?
It will be filed with the county clerk's
Okay.
office.
Okay, so at that point, it is file stamped and it's an official document.
Yes.
Okay,
And we could maybe even put the language in there that the county clerk, leave the blank, may, not shall, may inform the election commission director to communicate or, so that way we're not telling her what she can do, we're just respectfully requesting it. And I don't see that being an issue with Becky.
Oh,
Maybe, no?
yes,
No?
there were many quorum court meetings about the county clerk and minutes on the
Okay.
website, so I think
Okay.
having the language in here that says add director,
Okay,
that the director shall,
okay,
because then that makes it
required.
required.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, I'm thinking this, I'm sorry to create this issue.
Yeah, I think it's good points to me.
I just don't like to put my name down on something.
Sure. And then, and especially for an indefinite
And
amount
it
of
seems like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
I'm walking the plank.
time. You get first, right?
is this gonna come back to haunt me?
so a lot of counties have started doing, this is like I said, this was really something like we've never had the state GIS come in and talk to us about precincts. Precincts have always just been kind of that thing where the commission does, but really the county clerk does it in all practicality. And so,
Sounds like you haven't had, or we as a board or in previous meetings haven't had a lot of guidance. We just, it's an
No.
afterthought. It's just something that we're supposed to do and it's expected to us,
This is-
but we don't have any say in the decision making.
So much of our code written by our
Legislators.
legislators is.
For not-
that language in it that, yeah, it doesn't really,
They have great ideas and great intentions.
all intentions are generally good, it depends on what side of the board you're on.
and I think this is an area where, like, when you know better, you do better, you know, like, I'm like, oh, this is something we need to kind of tighten up and do, so.
But this is something that past election commissions have not had to even think about because GIS is a rather recent introduction.
Right.
And it gives a totally different slant on how quickly you can get things done.
Especially with terms being used.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
being set up.
So on the Arkansas GIS, it's called Check My City. And so basically, we can see, I can go on to Washington County. This is the Greenland special election. So see that's, it tells us when it started, it tells us what's happened to it. And then this is how I went on this when I was down in Little Rock, because I was like, oh, what are other things we need to do? And that's when, so there's that one, there's this one.
That's the one.
That's the one we're talking about, because it was the easiest one for me to kind of show you guys a
Sure.
picture of. There's another one over in Goshen. See this little
Yep.
area right here?
Mhm.
That's gonna be another area where we need to clean up that line.
Mhm.
And then there's this really strange part here, because I had to ask Becky about this one. This is, I don't know if you can see it, but, okay, so this is Tawny Town. and
Oh,
this is
boy.
Springdale. And see how that's.
Now I'm
red?
getting involved.
See how that's in red? I
Yeah.
asked Becky, I said, okay, what is this? This is like, I was like, this is in red and this impacts like actual voters, like in the little area we're talking about now, there's no voters. Yeah, all this is somehow the street, the road,
What is it?
it's, it's the Tawny Town Road, it's, Tawny Town, the 412, is that?
412
412.
is what, yeah.
Okay, so somehow this little part of the road should have been annexed into the city, but the road part. I don't know, I don't know.
They're doing some things over there and I'm not sure exactly where, but there's a lot of construction going on right now and somewhere along the line, I saw a mock-up of what the new city of Tawnytown was gonna look like.
Right.
And that may be part of it.
No, it's an old something left over.
Oh,
That's
is it
why it's in
really?
there. But what, I think by putting the language in here that the director shall inform, I now know where the tools are to find this
Yes.
information on my phone.
Yeah.
Because in the past, there was no mechanism other than us
you
visiting with
could-
the clerk
You could
about.
just stay aware and maybe once a month or
Yes.
something, check. Is there anything going on here that we need to know?
Right.
about?
And then you can make sure that the commission has
Yeah.
done whatever we need to do.
Right,
So, and then this'll, like I said, this'll let us just go ahead and clean things up.
Yeah.
in
on our-
advance.
Yes,
Or at least give Becky.
Maybe
the-
next time we meet, we can have it updated.
I will. I'll add the language to the director shall inform the commission. And then I will put, for the year 2025 and 2026.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna miss me.
I'm not accepting any short sessions here.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions on that, or shall we move on?
Do we need to sign anything
So,
for this? Like, when's the deadline to file this for?
so there isn't a deadline, but I would really like to do it before the annexation election, because then we
Okay.
can get, then
Okay.
all that can be cleaned up. So we're meeting November the 13th, or, okay, yes.
Is that plenty of time?
Well, I mean, I could get on the computer now and add that language and we could sign it if the commission,
It's
It's up
whatever
to you.
Yeah, it's just whatever you need, what makes it.
if you'll go in the
I mean-
2026 folder, there is,
Rushing in, we
We-
don't wanna rush you guys.
no. In the 2026 folder, there is a folder that says Commissioner Orders. And it says precinct order, so you're gonna add director shall inform the election commission at the next scheduled meeting.
Uh, You guys gonna have to go over this.
I'm
You
going to,
you may wanna, hold off on that, because we may need to make some changes.
Well, that
to
way-
this.
I'll check it.
Absentee
and
materials.
then you're gonna add. You're gonna add this language right here.
Oh, that's on the bottom of that one.
Yeah, yeah. Except remaining elections, you're gonna say for 2025 and 2026. You don't put elections in there.
All inclusive.
Yeah.
For all elections
And no, you don't want elections. This would be for the year. The year 2025 and 2026.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. Absentee handling order.
So this one, the commission has signed before. So this one, so what happened was several years ago, there was a county where the county clerk was handling absentee materials after it had been given to the election commission. So there was questions about the authority to do that, and then they passed a law that says commission or county clerks cannot have access to absentee materials after it has been given to the election commission, unless the commission says that the county clerk can handle absentee materials. All this does is says that the county board of election commissioners gives the county clerk or deputies the ability to handle, to store absentee materials. There should never be a reason that we have to, but in the event that we did have to, this gives the clerk the authority to be able to store it or to look at it, because what if we have questions about something? This gives the clerk the authority to.
This would be, I'm gonna suggest, if there was a storm that, wiped out the election commission headquarters or whatever, that, the county clerk would be authorized to step in and, I mean, in some places, the county clerk and the election commission are more closely aligned than we are.
Right, and for instance, in those counties, they definitely need this order because their county clerks may be responsible for canvassing absentee ballots.
Right.
Our county clerk doesn't, because we have a staff, but what if?
Yeah.
Like you said, they were the only ones available, or we needed to rely on them to do it. So basically, that's what this order does, is it just kind of says, hey, in the event she has access.
And this is
Do it.
only specifically absentee ballots and materials.
Yes, yeah, and that's, I just went ahead, the old order we had the language of the law in it and then just the information.
So is this? These that you've got marked with, bold, are those statements in this vote,
Mhm.
that has been directly out of the law.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're given 2 years at a time, we're given blanket authority.
Yeah, because basically, like I said, it would, if you didn't sign this order and you needed your county clerk to canvass absentee ballots, your county clerk could. We don't operate that way, but in the event, that allows us to operate that way.
Questions? Are we good on this? Do we need, we just need to sign it.
Yeah,
We don't need to have a motion.
So did you change something on this? Did you-
so this is the precinct order, this is the absentee
I
materials.
know, okay.
Oh, yeah,
No, I appreciate the relationship that you do have with the county clerks, anything that we can do to help them help us,
Mhm.
I'm all for.
My goodness, we're signing away our lives.
you are, okay, this would be the precinct order with updated language if you wanna.
Okay. Okay. Virtual meeting policy.
Okay. So
Let's just read this through.
So this one I also got from the state GIS, like I said, it's just like a wealth of knowledge. Yeah. And so, this came to my attention and our attention when Jim tried to join us virtually.
Right.
And, Tom was like, oh no, can't, because we didn't put it out there
Right.
that is going to happen or that can happen.
Yeah.
Did
Did we do that during COVID?
No, so this is in response to the new FOIA law.
Oh,
So the new FOIA law had very specific language in it about how to conduct virtual meetings and who can join virtual meetings and how that happens. So when I was at the state and Shelby was talking, he was talking about a meeting. He just happened to be talking about a meeting that they had and virtually, and so I asked if they had a policy, because that was what Tom was saying, that we needed to adopt a policy. So I just asked Shelby to share
okay.
his policy with us. The only language I changed in it from what the state had was a severe weather event. The state didn't include that language in there, but for us, I think that that's important to have. And this, like I said, this was done by the state, approved by a state agency.
Okay, so at the bottom of the sheet, you've got the pertinent Arkansas code.
So the next, so. The third piece of paper I have in this little section is what our meeting notice
Will include.
would now look like with that attendance policy on it. And Alexis, if you were looking at those acts, they will not be in that book,
Done.
because they're,
It's
they're
new,
new.
yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay, just as a matter of form. When there's an A, there should be a B.
I literally just stole this from the state, so I don't, so we can,
Maybe just drop the A on both, 3 and 4. And have it as explanation.
you might have to go through that. It's called meetings. It's in that same folder, but it's called meetings.
So we wouldn't have to do the virtual attending this portion of the notice unless we were, I guess, when do we have to make that decision? Like, what's the deadline?
So this would almost be the way I would see it going forward. I didn't do
Every
it,
time.
we would have to do it every time because you wouldn't know who might
Right.
not be able to
Right.
attend.
Mhm.
So going forward, we would all automatically have to set up our meetings this way. We do it through Zoom anyway.
Okay.
And then that's how we link to YouTube. So the only difference is now I'm making this Zoom link public,
Okay.
so that the individuals could join.
And I have control over that.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So like even with Jim, I was able to mute Jim. I
Right,
can
right.
Do what I need to if there's things that are happening.
The only other thing I think we, the only other thing I think we may have to do is remember when we did meet virtually and we had the phone and people could call in the phone. I'll have to ask IT about how that works. Do we have to have a phone?
I don't think you do.
So they just call in and can hear it
Mhm.
through the
Yeah,
Zoom?
they can,
Okay.
because you could do it on your phone. You would just type in
Yeah.
the numbers on your phone
Right.
and
Is this number gonna change or will this remain the same?
So every time I create a Zoom meeting, this
It'll be a
will,
separate.
yeah,
one?
it will,
Okay.
and so I will just start adding this
Okay.
to the agenda that I post.
Okay.
when you see anything else that needs to be fixed.
Your job is getting a whole lot more difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, because she'll have to monitor
Yes,
who
yes.
signs on that way.
And-
Yeah,
I can see participants, like now I can
Right.
see that there's somebody's watching,
Yeah,
but this would give me, like, there would be a chat box in
Right.
there now and things like that, that I would have to keep an eye on.
well, the problem with some of that too is we don't need to, I mean,
It would only be if it was like public comment or
it would
something like
be
that.
during a public comment period
Right.
rather than in the middle of our
Right.
meeting. Okay,
and we don't have a public comment period per se, sometimes they'll open it up.
right,
So technically, they're only watching us.
okay.
That's
Okay, that
all,
makes
that's all
sense.
they're doing, but
Okay.
the way this new law is written,
And
I-
if I'm not mistaken, there is a way to set up our Zoom meetings to where they cannot speak. Like, I can make it to where Jim can
You
talk
Yeah.
and whatever for a meeting, but I think there's a way that they cannot unmute themselves. Like, he could unmute himself.
Oh, yeah,
But I think there's a way for them that they can't unmute
I
themselves.
believe there is.
okay. Okay,
I'm doing meetings for Tyler's prison ministry. I'm doing them on Google Meet, which I kind of like it.
I just want to make sure whatever platform we use can be uploaded to YouTube. So if you already have that.
That's
I
Yeah.
was gonna change that.
yeah. And really, what got me I mean, obviously, when Jim wasn't able to fully participate because we hadn't done this, the big one is if in case of an emergency, we have to close polling locations. we don't wanna be trying to get here to meet.
Exactly.
We need to all be able to meet by Zoom,
Yeah.
and this policy allows us to do that. That's why I added the severe weather event in
Yeah.
there.
I can't believe they didn't do that.
They didn't, I don't know if,
They don't have any weather down there.
maybe, but I would assume this board, the CGIS board is from across the
Right, that's
state.
true, yes.
So I don't know,
Hmm.
but yeah.
Is there any other changes before I go to the A?
Just that,
Okay. I will go on with
unless, I mean, do you guys have any suggestions?
Who's gonna handle all of this? Can we put a provision that you guys handle it? Cause you don't want me in charge.
I think that's.
Or is that implied?
That's implied.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Make sure.
Yeah, that
You
is.
don't want me to go. That would get all of us.
Nine hours.
Any comment? Nope.
Yeah.
Or the chair, they do have to be the chair, the chair.
No. Yeah,
You are.
director. A designee, under the directors.
See, you come back and so you come back for Jeff.
I had a powers meeting Tuesday night. I'm usually bored meetings because as the secretary, I have to write minutes, all this good stuff. So I go back where I can really listen to the minutes. Well, somehow or another, I didn't get didn't take the recording, that's why. I was in the blind.
Oh, no.
Did my memory, that's awful.
Especially when I don't hear it very good anyway. Anyway.
Did you have any issues with the last meeting? Any technical issues, any hearing issues? What was your experience on the other side of it as a board member? Besides not being able to vote?
Yeah, when I was trying to be on here, well, yeah, I don't think I mean, sometimes if you're talking to a group, and somebody's talking down here, and the microphone is down there, or, you know, it is kind of hard to get all the.
Yeah.
Everything that you say. And, so, yeah,
That's what.
especially when you're old and you got hearing aids,
Yeah,
it gets a little difficult.
anytime you have more than one person talking, it can be difficult to, separate
You
the
know how
two.
people were talking on a microphone and they turn over here and they're talking, or, you know,
Right.
whatever. They're coming in and out and that type of thing.
Mhm.
But the second about that is the microphone's at the end of the
Right.
table, if they're sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not easy to always get the audio.
Do we need
No,
to get those
it's
little
gonna take
speakers
tomorrow.
like they have around the
No.
horseshoe?
Oh, if we do or not, or maybe we move the computer down a little bit,
Because that's such a big.
yeah.
You
But now,
could
Yeah.
probably get a microphone,
A good one, and set it in.
additional microphone that can be moved
Yeah.
around, passed
Yeah.
around, or have a couple of them sitting on the table.
Yeah, we'll look at that.
Yeah, look at, I mean, maybe look at a couple past meetings to see how they transmit. And if there's any difficulty, we should look at other options.
Okay.
I can say something about that,
Go
because there's been a couple of times when I was not at the meetings, but I took minutes from the
Right,
video
right.
of the meeting, and I experienced the same thing. When you hear there's two or three maybe, or even sometimes just one person speaking, it's not always clear by the time it gets down here. Even when you put the closed caption on, the closed caption doesn't always put the correct words up there either.
Yeah.
So that can be, like, I was taking minutes, having to go back and try to do that 2 or 3 times to make sure I had the correct wording and so
Right.
forth for the motions that were made in second and whatever.
Feel your pain.
Yeah.
Can you send this tonight or today? Sorry. Can we do this again at November 13th?
yeah, is there something you're wanting
Well,
to,
just to test out the mics And so I just don't want to be not in compliance, like, once we pass this.
Oh, I don't think that, I think you signing that, it's regardless if we have mics
Yeah,
or not.
okay.
We have provided the public the ability to log on.
Okay.
That's prime.
That's the primary thing, is we have, given the public the ability.
I want to just work that,
Yes,
as we go
Yeah.
along.
yeah.
That might be a really good, the mics, or a mic down here
Yeah,
to help.
I mean, throughout my life, I've rarely had problems with people hearing me. But,
Or not hearing.
well, or not hearing me. But, you know, I think that we sometimes mumble when we're lazy. And we're not required, I don't think, to, you know, take a bunch of extra steps to make sure that every word is covered and covered correctly. But, you know, just as sort of let's be nice to the public, do what we can to make it easier for each meeting to be heard well. And I mean, for anything else, for our own edification, because we may, from time to time, need to be reminded of what went on in meeting and, when I'm reviewing.
Yep.
So. All right, other business.
The other thing I have is the Secretary of State's office is coming to our two buildings on November the 20th to do a security assessment.
And it's the Secretary of State's.
The Secretary of State's office that's doing it.
At the behest of,
I have asked, the Secretary of State to come and do this assessment because that will allow us to be eligible to receive grant money. To hopefully, one of the items I've asked for in our budget for 2026 is badge access. That way, you know, we know who's coming in the building and who's going out of the building. When they come and do the assessment, obviously, that's gonna be something I know that they'll write in the assessment, but they're gonna look to see, do we need cameras? You know, some of the counties got fireproof, safes. They'll come and look at every single thing we have on this building and that building and write up an assessment. And then
both buildings.
it'll be for both buildings, and then we can ask for grant money to pay for it. But also it gives us a roadmap to present to the forum court to say, these are upgrades that we need to make to our buildings based on this assessment from the Secretary of State's office. So, yeah.
Okay, so are you, a couple things. When is the door gonna be, I mean, apparently they're working on it. Do we have a timeline?
We don't have a timeline other than it should be within, this year.
Okay,
So, yeah.
okay, so we're running out of days.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like, that's
2 months, yeah, but it should be.
Well, you know,
How did you, you didn't open that with a badge,
No.
but there's an
There's
alarm
an
on it?
alarm in there, yeah.
No, so that's another part of the puzzle.
It just randomly goes off throughout the day.
And it doesn't go to anything. So
Sometimes
it's
we don't
like,
even hear it.
so there's no fire trucks that are getting ready to come because that alarm went off. That is something buildings and grounds is, they are having someone come in and fix that.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
that is also on their list of things
Okay.
that they are fixing. But I would think that type of thing too will be part of that assessment.
Yeah,
You know, all of those different types of things, you know, is there alarm on the building if someone comes in
Right.
that doesn't have badge access? So. Yeah.
well, how about, are you gonna have, somebody from whatever their name is over there? Are they gonna come when the SB, or when the Secretary of State's office is here, so that they can be aware and maybe even make their own suggestions?
Yes, I invited buildings and grounds
Okay.
yesterday. I let them know about it, and I'll also let the chief of staff know as well. that they're coming, just because, the more ears that hear it.
Right.
But my understanding is they write up a very thorough report and like turn that into you, afterwards too, so.
They're not. They're not gonna say we're in a terrible shape or anything, are they?
No, I don't think so. I think, no. No,
Chairman,
I
are
don't
we,
think-
are we done, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Meeting
Meeting